Welcome. It is Monday, and I need to get some new music here. It is almost, this is after Black Friday and so much racing. We've had World Supercross Round 4 in Sweden, and I have a special guest. Yes, it's not just the mad scientist, Coach Rob, because I guess we'll say hi to Coach Rob here. What's up, Coach?
Hey, good morning, buddy. It's good to be back.
Good morning. I know. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for sure. But the guest that we have has been a top MXGP rider, top motocross guy. And dude, for some reason at the final round of the Super Motocross Championships, this SOB was throwing the sickest whips off one of the scariest step downs I ever saw. And he just was completely flat. I mean, Valentin, what's up, man?
Hello, guys. I'm doing good.
Walk me back real quick on the final at the Super Motocross Championships. That step down after like the big double, and then you're just hauling ass around that outside. Seemed like in practice, a lot of you guys were mildly intimidated, but then once you guys jumped it, then everyone was just scrubbing the hell out of it.
Yeah, I think when everyone walked the track, everyone was scared on this downhill and this double down, and also the next one. But actually, on the bike was way more easy than on our feet. So, yeah, let's have fun on some jumps like this.
Yeah, watching that. I mean, it didn't look like a very fun passing jump because it looked like you could really only have just one line because it honestly looked kind of sketchy trying to pass somebody there. But the amount of speed that you guys were checking up to get over that, I mean, I should have caught more because I got some good whips by Kenny and Tomac, but then every time you came around, for some reason, I just didn't have my camera out, and it made those guys look silly. I mean, honestly, it was super impressive, dude. And ever since then, I was like, man, I want to talk to that guy. He's on a privateer bike, and I want to see how well just get to know him, basically. So
thanks for having me here. So it's a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll have his Instagram and everything links in the description. And I know when we were talking previously, you told me that you were super excited for potentially getting to ride the Cowie for testing and be in the hunt to try to get on that factory bike. And I was super rooting for you, and then saw that they came out and they picked Marchbanks. So I was really bummed for you, man. I was really bummed.
Yeah, it was maybe a big opportunity for my career because I never been officially a factory rider in Europe. I had some help from the factory when I was on Yamaha, but never as factory rider directly. But yeah, it's I understand also them choice, to take for sure first an American guy that helped, and then also a rider who was already on contract with Kawasaki. So it was quite logical, the choice they did.
Yeah, but the big problem with this sport is there's just not enough rides for talented guys like you, because look at this, 8th at Motocross of Nations, 15th, like every national you were at, dude, you were in the hunt for stuff. You've been a top 10 MXGP rider, dude. And it looks like you did what, 6 or so MXGPs this year?
Yeah, I did 6 GPs. Yeah, the 6 first.
What's the big difference between GPs versus Moto here in America? Besides
there is many things. There is many difference. So I think the first big difference, it's 1 day racing compared to 2 days. Because it's like really, you arrive in the morning here in the US, you do your stuff, it go really quick, but then it's done. So you give 100%, and I think you enjoy more racing. Because I've been racing GPs almost for 15 years, and when it's 2 days racing, you arrive already. Yeah, I mean, even Friday it's for nothing, but it's already a race that you mentally start to get into it, and then if you give everything, all what you have on Saturday, then Sunday morning when you wake up and you still have to do 2 times 35, it's getting sometimes some wake up on Sunday morning was not easy, But so yeah, that's a big difference. And then the tracks we can compare. It's like two different way of prep tracks, layout, and high speed. Here in the US, I felt that we have way more high speed than in Europe. And also the big difference is that in Europe, there is one line, one fast line, so everyone take that line. Here in the US, you can be like way outside from the guy, but out of the corner, even if he was full inside, it's as fast as his line. So that gives you more opportunity to pass. And with that, it's a different kind of riding style, on the first few laps in the US. Because I remember like some race, you start and in one corner you get passed by 3 riders, and that in Europe you never have it. And I think it was a good example on Prado in High Point. I think it was first or second Moto. He starts second behind Jet, I believe. So you make the start, left, right, left, and down into the wave. And after 2 corners, he was from second to 7th place. And this in Europe, it's not possible. Maybe you lose 1 place, 1 spot, but not 7. Because here in the US, it can go really in every direction.
Why do you think that is? Is it the way they? Sorry, Coach.
No, that's exactly my question. Is that just because of the dirt type? Is that the way it's prepped? Is it track design? Why is that?
I think all that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think all that. Yeah. Cause also, it's like in Europe, the layout is really compact, the track, so it's more tight. So for sure, when you go inside, you are always a bit faster. Here, when you are outside, you can keep a lot of speed. And I think it's why if you are getting slower on the inside or fast on the outside, you can arrive at the same point out of the corner, same time. So that's one thing for sure. The quality of the dirt, it's way better than what we have in Europe. And then also that's also different, when you ride only on one day, they can keep soft the dirt. When you ride on 2 days, and we have always the 2 main class, MXGP 250, and then we have always 2 class next of that. So the 125 European, and they are always on Saturday morning, like I believe always around 80, 90 riders to try to get qualified for the top 40. Then you have always the woman or the 250 European Championship. 250, they are always around like 60, 70 riders. So it makes a lot of people on Saturday morning on the track, and then it's like, almost 48 hours long, and yet the tracks start to get hard back, and there is so much class during all the day, they can't put that much water between. So I think that's a big difference.
Go for it, Coach.
Yeah, I was just curious, when you're practicing during the week, are you guys able to emulate those types of race conditions where starts wet and loamy, goes hard packed? Like how do you set your practice up to be able to emulate 3 days of racing, Friday to Sunday, as you described?
So on Friday we are not riding on Friday, but
I thought it was qualifying on Friday.
No, okay. It's Saturday. Saturday qualifying, and then Sunday to race. The problem in Europe, we don't have as good as prepped as here in the US, for practice. Slowly they try to water it and have some good track prep, but it takes a bit time. And the problem it's what I could compare with California. It's that they prep for the amateur, so it's don't get deep, don't get soft. So we are doing a difficult sport for practicing because yeah, we have sometimes to go ride and there is some amateur guys and stuff like this. So it's not easy to have the best practice condition. It's that why many teams are based in Belgium or Netherlands, because there is only sand tracks, and when you ride on sand tracks you can find almost the same condition as what you have on the race. So because it gets really quick, bumpy, some ruts, slippery, so that's why, and physically it's tough to practice in the sand.
Yeah,
Can't even imagine.
Okay, two things. Talking with a lot of guys here in America, they've been complaining about how they prep the tracks. Like it's too deep here. So if they do not as deep, kind of like the last couple times that they had at the Ironman and, you know, at the MX of Nations as well, too, they did a good job prepping that track because there was a lot of different lines from inside to outside. And so here in America, not prepping the track so deep for qualifying helps it to where it doesn't become one line. And then one of the things that I saw that was different between the MXGP guys versus the American guys is the MXGP guys were always running a 110 tire on their 450s here in America, even if it was a scoop. And then the 450s here, you know, our guys, Tomac and Roxon and all those guys are running a 120 scoop. And so I thought that was interesting why you guys are running little bike tires.
Yeah, it's strange because it's not really logic. Because in Europe, it's getting more hard pack. So if you have a bigger tire, you have more grip. And when it's soft and deep ruts, you should have a smaller tire. Like this, you lose less power. So I don't know why it's that different. I believe I think it's like a trend, a mode. Like, okay, we have to put 120, so we go 120, you know.
So do you normally...
Then there is a small difference, just this, because in Europe, 90% of the guys are riding Pirelli. And if you take a Pirelli 110 and a Dunlop 120, they are getting closer because the size of Pirelli and Dunlop are not exactly the same. So a Dunlop 110, it's a bit more small than a 110 Pirelli. So I think that's why here in the US they go 120.
Is the Pirelli a softer compound?
No, not really. I don't know for sure. And now the last few years, so Pirelli we had two tires, the 32, where it's squared gum, and then the scoop, the paddle tire. And most of it we were really using this paddle tire because they did something with working good on, even it's getting hard pack. And now since this year, they came with a mix between the square gum and the scoop. Not a big fan, but yeah, they try to go as much as possible with the paddle.
What made you not like that tire?
So let's say the middle one, the sneak one. It's you know, you are between you and with this it's difficult to feel how the tire gonna react. So that's why maybe I believe it's why also I crashed on Swiss GP where I broke my collarbone, because the takeoff of the table was concrete, was getting hard, and you have till one moment a lot of grip, but because in one moment it starts to get scoop, the tire can slide, and it's what happened. So yeah, because when you ride with a scoop, you have less grip on the edge, and then you mentally you are ready and you are careful with that. So yeah, that's a bit my feeling.
Were you running Pirellis all this last year?
Yeah, most
Okay.
of it, yeah.
Okay.
Because yeah, I think they have a good tire for Europe conditions. So now slowly Dunlop catch back this to get as good as them. So, yeah.
And was that Pirelli tied in with who you were riding for? I know you were privateering last year. Was that a personal sponsor? Was that a sponsor of the team who you were getting bikes from, or is that just because that's what you're familiar with?
So first, I don't know if you still see me because everything is frozen, but I can hear you well. So I'm just continuing.
You're back.
You still see.
Yep, you're back.
So the team was Pirelli in the past, and this year the first 6 GPs I was riding by myself as a private rider, and I bought the Pirelli tire because I was feeling good with that one.
Gotcha. The whole tire category, Johnny, I could talk about this for hours on end. That's why I appreciate.
Well, because it's not fair, the difference between the spec tires versus what you get at the local dealership. Valentin looks like the internet may have locked on him. The wonders of doing live shows, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all
and
right.
in
Hopefully
internet.
Back up. Yeah, we're only as good as our last connection, as much as we don't like to say.
Yeah,
that.
and how bad is the internet there in Florida, Coach?
It's not. It all depends. You know what I mean? Like I've got fiber optic or whatever they call it, supposedly the highest thing, and every once in a while it'll just crab out on me, and I can't explain why. So no rhyme or reason. It looks like he's going to log back in. Yeah, I'm always interested on the tire discussion because when you look at the Pirellis versus the Dunlops, and then the accessibility, and when you've got Valentin, there he is. He's back. When you just look at somebody like Valentin who, grows up on a particular brand, then comes across the big pond, and now all of a sudden you're not only just learning the language and the food and the things that we typically think about. I don't think the average rider would think about exactly what Valentin was just mentioning there in regards to you have to trust that tire. I mean, yeah, we know it intuitively, but like you said, he contributes it to his actual engine.
I kind of want to know what Valentin thinks about the scoop tire in Supercross, and why do you think that everyone is running the goddamn tire on everything? And I guess there is a small caveat because the factory guys get spec tires, right? So they're different compounds. They'll never going to run an actual one off the shelf. Like really the only guy that I know has been Justin Hill, where he says that he will run the scoop standard tire. He does not like the spec, but he always runs the 110. And I thought that was an interesting take because every other major 450 team or 250 team, everyone is running these spec. I need to look back at what the numbers are, but they always have 2 different types. They have an A and a B. So if it's an MX32, it's not an MX32. It's some weird number, and it's the A version, and then it's the B version, and they don't actually tell you what kind of compound that is. You just know that that's a very expensive tire.
Unattainable.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because the last few years, really, the scoop tire improve. You can see the design of it. They change compared like a few years ago, and it proved that it's working on when it's getting hard back. I think it just for sure at the start it will help you. You will have a bit more traction, and then in one moment the rider have to adapt with what he is riding. You have to be smart enough to know that where it's like a bit like shiny, that you have to control your throttle, and that you can't open full. So I think that's one thing, and also maybe with the factory rider, they should have a good electronic traction control, and maybe that's why they can ride always on paddle, on scoop tire.
Are you going to do any Supercross this year?
Yes, I will. Because I signed with an American team for next year. I don't know when we're gonna announce all that, but I will race Supercross East Coast 250, because for the first year racing in the US Supercross, I think it's good to start on 250, and then I will go MX 450 and SMX 450.
Awesome, dude. That's super exciting.
Yeah.
So
really looking forward.
Yeah, they're in Florida. Are you testing the 250? And I'm assuming it's the Yamaha 250.
Yeah, everyone. I post already few video of myself on Instagram riding Supercross. So for the moment, I'm riding 450. Because I have to learn the timing and all that. So on a 450, it's pretty easy. You turn slow, and then with the throttle, you can make the timing. Because on 250, you need to be aggressive. And if you don't have the timing and you have to be aggressive, it can be dangerous. So I prefer to go slower, take the timing, you get use of also the vision, the distance of the rhythm. And then I do that 1 month till Christmas, and beginning of January, I'm going to start on 250.
Valentin, how tall and how heavy are you?
Oh, good question. Because in Europe we don't have the same measure, So the weight, it's
you can do kilograms if you want to.
Yeah, I'm on 73 kilograms, so I think it's like 160, 165, I believe.
161 on the nose. Yep. So let's call it 161.
Yeah.
And height wise?
And I'm 178 centimeter. So
he's 5'8" at 161. Which bike do you feel more, use the word earlier, aggressive? Which bike do you feel like you could be more aggressive outdoors, since Supercross is all new for you?
What do you mean?
Do you feel like you can attack the track a little bit better on a 250 or a 450 when you're outdoors, based on your height and your weight?
So it's a long time I didn't race on 250, but for sure, when you race when you are on a 250, you can control way more easy the bike, because when you are on a 250, you are stronger as the bike, but when you are on a 450, the bike is stronger than you.
And when you've been riding the 450 on Supercross, like you said, it's pretty much point and punch, and you can get over everything. Do you feel like you're getting the timing down pretty quickly in regards to being consistently smooth and I guess consistent lap times on the Supercross track?
Yeah, for the moment, really, I even don't look the lap time and nothing. I just do some session of 10, 15 minutes, just make laps and laps. Like in 2 months, I'm going to fight against people who have thousands of laps on Supercross track, and me, I'm starting now. So I can't rush. I just need to take my time and make my laps.
I don't mean to be rude. How old are you this year?
I will be 33 in 2 weeks, on 18 December.
And just getting on Supercross.
Your birthday.
So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so then I raced some Supercross in the past, like Geneva in Switzerland, close to my home. Okay. Supercross always in December. I race also Paris. But we can't compare SX in Europe and SX in the US. It's not the same size.
Yeah. Now that Instagram, is that Future MX there? Okay.
That was my first day last week on Monday or Tuesday.
Oh, so this is your first day on the Supercross track?
Yes.
Look at him go through the whoops, Johnny. First day on Supercross.
Well, and just hitting all the rhythms. I'm like, okay, it's your first day.
First day. And Johnny, just so you know, you're familiar with Florida, on the other side of those trees, that's the Croom big riding area. That's where everybody comes and rides quads and motorcycles and everything else. A lot of the off-road guys, Steve Hatch and those guys, that's Croom on the other side of those trees right there.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Okay. In
for people who
Supercross,
reference.
Valentine, this always scared me where, okay, you go step over
on.
and then the step on top of those triples, landing on those tabletops. Are those scary at all or not?
Yeah, 100%.
Really? Yeah,
It scares me too.
Okay, all right. I'm glad at least you're honest about it.
But you know, it's this just you have to make laps and laps, and then it starts to get natural. And yeah, then at the moment it's natural. It means that you did a good job.
Yeah, because tripling onto those damn tabletops, my always instinct was like, all right, I'm going to land and I'm going to slam on the brakes. But you can't slam on the brakes because then there's, another lift coming off of it, which is you have to land and you have to rock to try to go off of it. So you are set up. But I don't know.
Actually, the most difficult is to land good on the table. If you land good on the table, automatically you can make the rhythm behind. Yeah. But then the goal is to land always on the front wheel, to that the suspension get compressed to make you off after. So
what's a day after or 2 days after, are you more physically or mentally exhausted riding Supercross?
I think riding a dirt bike, it's always mentally after okay, when you start it's okay, but after weeks and weeks of practicing, it's more mentally than physically.
And Johnny, I just think that's super important because we know that, like Valentin said, physical is physical, but that precision, being able to literally put that thread through the needle there. I've always been amazed by Supercross, just that precision and the mental focus. Johnny, you and I talk about, your brain gets fed sugar from your liver and you've only got a very limited amount of sugar in the body. A lot of people don't realize this. You've got about 50,000 calories of stored fat in your body. You've got less than 2,000 stored of sugar, and your brain is using sugar over and over and over again to think and process and problem solve. So again, like you said, Johnny, I appreciate Valentin's honesty.
All the focus stuff is so important. I mean,
yeah.
There's what is that herb, roll something that's supposed to help with focus. It's one of the main ingredients that Rhino Power stuff puts in his stuff for focus. And then you always have the crap that Stewart got caught with.
Adderall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, when you study Adderall, like Adderall's on the PGA, I mean, for the ability to have, X amount of 1,000 people around you, you've got TV crews, people are 10 feet away from you, and you're getting ready to hit a ball down a fairway and not put that ball up against somebody's temple. And if you listen to anybody who's been on Adderall, and they all say you could see a black dot 300 miles away. They say it's a game changer.
Thanks, Danny.
Yeah,
he's got.
I don't know how you pronounce that, rhodiola rosea or something.
Yeah,
it's just a natural herb, but it's just looking at Valentin on the track like that. You wouldn't think that he's just shaking it down stateside. Like I said, he's done some European Supercrosses, but just to watch him on that track is very, very impressive.
Valentin, you said something earlier about the European tracks being usually more hard packed, blue groove. Is there a reason as to why you guys decided to race East Coast Supercross rather than West Coast, where West Coast is going to be more hard pack? I know it's coming up here in a few weeks, but
yeah, because my dream was to race A1 because I don't know, in 2010 it was the first time I was watching a Supercross in A1 on live. So I said one time I would like to race there, but we have to be logic and smart. It's only 1 week that I'm back riding on Supercross. Last time I was riding, it was for the Motocross of Nation. So it was way too short time to be ready for A1. So I think the most logic was to race East Coast.
You going to fly out and at least go back and see it live again this year, A1?
No, I don't know, because I will be now for Christmas. I will go back home in Switzerland to see my family, spend a bit the time there. So with my girlfriend, and all my friends. Going to ski also a bit, because this is what I'm missing here in Florida. It's the mountain and the snow. But yeah, I will have a bit time off in Switzerland, and then I will fly back to Florida, I think beginning of January, around 5, 6, something like this. So I will stay straight here.
How many total days will you be off the bike when you go to Switzerland in total, from when you leave to when you come back?
I think it will be like 14 days, something like this.
And Johnny, you and I talk about this all the time. You know, what's he going to go do? He's going to go, you snowboard or ski, Valentin?
I can do both, but now I'm skiing.
Okay. So Johnny, think about the proprioceptive balance that we talk so much about.
Is that for your knees or just personal preference?
Both, maybe. No, I mean, because also now with the ski, I do a lot of ski touring. So then you climb, you go up. Okay. Yeah. And like this, I do some cardio and then down. And but yeah, I can do both. It's more running that I can't do anymore with my knees. It's why I only cycle.
Johnny, I just think it's so important because we've talked about balance before. He's going snow skiing, right? Of course, being from Florida, just the thought of a picture of the Swiss Alps, no way I'm going down that thing I'm not going down it in a boat, much less on a set of skis. That we talk about the balance, and like you just said, you know, doing the work going up. We know the quadriceps are the largest consumer of oxygen, just, you know, these huge Swiss Alpine type numbers, and then not worried about it. Come right back, 2 weeks off the bike, get right back on. So I think it's just important for the listeners, especially young moto dads that think that young athletes got to be on the bike 52 weeks out of the year. It's just not true.
I wish you could tell us what team you signed with, you know, but I know you can't, but maybe privately you could tell me after the fact here. But with the Cowie deal, would you have raced the 450 in Supercross if you would have gotten that, or would have been possibly 250?
No, I should go 450, but then I should change all my plan. You know, after Motocross of Nation, I should just take 2 weeks of holiday and then get back here to practice. And now, because it didn't happen and I go on East Coast, I took a bit more time off. And yeah, but it was, I believe that if I was starting to be practicing around end of October, I should be fine to be ready for A1.
Valentin, how old were you when you went pro?
When I turned pro?
Yes, sir.
I was 17 years old.
And you said you're going to be turning 33?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just totally impressed, Johnny, because number one, he doesn't look like he's over 30. Yeah. But you think about still competitive after that many years.
I'm feeling even better when I was 23, you know. When I was 23, I was fighting for the world title in MX2 class and like beating Jeffrey Erlings. But now I'm 33 and I'm feeling way much better mentally. I wish I was mentally like this when I was 23, but
sure,
it's the life, you know.
Yep.
You learn from your mistakes and you take time to learn. And yeah.
Valentin, did you say earlier that you never had a full factory ride with?
No, never.
And so you just said that you were battling for the world title one of your first years, and then you still didn't get a factory ride for the next year. And this year, you know, looking at your results and seeing you on TV and then the races that I went to, you're very, very talented. Do you contribute it to just kind of bad luck, or do you contribute it to kind of just the industry of motorcycle racing in general? Because the more and more I've dug deep going to the races, and a lot of the information that I found out, it seems a lot is kind of a little bit of like who you know, a little bit to get in front of the right people to, I don't know, have the opportunity for a factory ride.
Yeah, it's I mean, if I speak about myself, I think it's because mentally I was not good, and I could win, but I could do also bad GPs. And now the people, they don't accept that you do bad race. It's like, I don't know, in motocross, it's like you should have only good days. But if I look in all other sports, because I really like cycling and I'm following all the Grand Tour in Europe, and sometimes the best cyclists of the world, they just say, I had a bad day and I was not good. And everyone say, okay, no problem. And here in motocross, like, oh, he's not good. He don't train good. Mentally, he's not good. And I can't understand that thinking of people in this sport. But okay, me, myself, in the past was mentally, I was not good. And it's why I really learned a lot the last few years. And then for sure, if you are winning, easy, you have a factory ride, or if you have good contact, you can have also a factory ride. So
When
you need
you talk, go ahead, excuse me. Just when you talk about not being mentally tough, was that, you mentioned you could win one race? Is it just you weren't able to back it up the next weekend or the next moto? What, obviously you're looking back with all the experience that you have now, but when you describe not being mentally tough, do you
And
mind
small
elaborating?
sidebar here. Anybody that knows anything about racing dirt bikes know that pretty much the rule is you're going to have more bad days than you have good days, because it's only one person versus 40. And it's incredibly rare to have the exception of somebody that has good races all the time. Like, I don't know, anybody that's raced any sort of two-wheel thing know that you're going to have more downs than you have ups. It's ludicrous, in my opinion, that way of thinking, but go for it, Valentin.
there is so many option mentally, and like, I don't know how many times I was the fastest on practice the week before the race. On Wednesday, no one could follow me. The same guys I will race 3 days later, they couldn't follow me. I arrive on the race, boom, I'm like P8 and they are P1 and 2. Because mentally, if you feel that you are good and too confident, then you arrive on the race and you are not ready to fight. You will think that, yeah, that it will be easy, but it's never easy racing. So that's one point of mentally. When you start to win, then you think, oh, it's easy. So then you train less and you are less focused on what you are doing. So then it can give you bad result. So yeah, then it can be many things. And I think I had a bit all those things with me in the past. And then for sure, when you win, maybe you get a bit too much like, I don't have the word in English anymore. Yeah,
Complacent.
you take everyone from I, like, even in French, I lost the word. But yeah, anyway, like arrogant. It's this in English?
Arrogant.
Arrogant?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you are a bit
I thought that was just all French people.
So do you think with the guys that you had behind you and you go P8 and they go P1 and 2, is it because they stepped up, or did you just get, like you said, a little bit complacent and you felt like you went down, or did you find that those two guys just stepped up on race day?
I think it was more me because, on practice, you have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So you have no pressure, no stress. And then when you arrive on the race, even you will have automatically stress. It's normal. It's the body will react like this to make you ready to fight. But if you put a bit more pressure on yourself, then it kills you. It kills you. So yeah, I think I was making too much stress on myself, or I was thinking it was too easy. So then you have stress and you think it's easy, and then you are not connect with yourself, and you are running after the time. You are not precise on your bike, and yeah, it can be like really mental aspect is it's like really it's a big thing that it takes times to learn everything and to understand his head. Oh yeah, my head. So yeah.
Now you weren't a factory rider at the time, but you still felt like there was a tremendous amount of pressure. And was that put on by yourself, your dad, your sponsors? Where do you think the pressure came from?
Yeah, by myself. My parents, because at the moment I turned pro, I asked them, okay, now it's my life and it's my job. My dad, he had a company of, like he was doing garden around the house and swimming pool and stuff like this. And I was not going in the week and tell him, oh, you have to do like this, your swimming pool. That's his job. And it's the same. He don't going to tell me, oh yeah, you have to pass like this on the track. So that was really clear with my parents. So it was no pressure with them. I believe it was myself because I want to do it good. And when you want to do too good, you don't do good.
Johnny, I don't know about you, but you can just see the difference between the Europeans and the American mentality. It's just written all over the conversation in a good way.
Yes.
Like his dad just steps back and goes, hey, it's your job. Go for it. I mean, show me an American moto dad that's like, yeah, no problem, dude. You go figure it out now. You're pro. You got it. Just like he said, he's not telling dad how to do a pull.
We have also dads like this. but
dude, like honestly, the biggest thing, like I've only been to one FIM sanctioned race, and that was the Motocross of Nations here in October. And I just it baffled me, just the European guys. They just had this like kind of FU attitude, but it was different than here in America. Like here in America, it's the riders are very cocky. You know, the guys that are cocky. But then everybody will almost kind of like lie to your face, you know, like they're overly nice here in America, but then behind your back, maybe not so much. But the FIM guys, anytime I was doing something that was a little bit, they're just like, what the fuck you doing? Like, get out of there, dude. It was so blatantly obvious that it was just the culture is completely different. And I liked it. I enjoyed it, you know.
I agree.
And
I agree.
when I was in a team rig, they would just say, hey, get the fuck out of here, or they were totally cool about it. It was somebody would say something where normally
that's a big difference between what I saw between MXGP and US. And now on the side of a rider, I prefer the US mentality. I mean, under a reg in the paddock, you know?
Yeah.
Because easily you can speak with everyone, with the rider. There is no fight between riders or like this. And even you have, like myself, TC, a Yamaha shirt. I go under some Honda teams or KTM teams. And it was no problem. No one says something. And then even they say, oh, you want a bottle of water? Oh, yeah, please. In Europe, if you have a Yamaha shirt and you go next to even you go under another Yamaha team, they say like, what the fuck are you doing here? Go away. So I'm like, okay, come on. We are not in Formula One and we are not in MotoGP. And that's a bit the mentality in MXGP, and I'm not a big fan because I think they try to do something that it's not the good way of thinking, but yeah, everyone have his idea.
I know that I was like just surprised at how just everyone kind of worked. And okay, this is a question left field, and you can totally tell me to F off, Valentin. So generally, talking with some GP riders, I know how difficult it is to get to the races and how you guys don't make, there's not a purse at the races. So how have you been able to race the GPs year after year? Like, what is the difficulties getting to the races and having your bikes? And is it a breath of fresh air here in America, being on a team where here's a paycheck and here you've got this set up and everything?
It depends always where you are. If you're a factory rider, it doesn't matter. You are in US or in Europe, you have a good salary, you have the best team, the best material, and you can have all what you want. So that's not a problem. Then I was like in 23rd and 24th. I finished 9 overall in MXGP, and I had also a salary, and it was okay. It was fine, you know. The first year in 23rd, I didn't have a big salary, so I really needed a lot of sponsor next of it. Then 24th, I had already a better salary, but was not that good for 9th place overall in MXGP. So it was like 50,000 bucks for 9th place overall. So that's not much. So yeah, then the problem, it's like when you are a private rider and you pay to go race, and at the end of the day you have nothing back, that's really hard, you know. It's why I already tell many times at MXGPs that they should make a privater class. Then the factory guy, they don't receive money because they have a good salary, no bonus, no prize money. But the private rider, they should have something back, and that will help everyone to come racing and try to do the best, you know. But it's not the idea that they have for the moment. So yeah, when you are here in the US and you give everything what you have, and in the evening you can have a prize money, you are really happy with that.
Because over here in the US, we bitch about the prize money, and it is quadrupled over a few years, especially with the super motocross stuff, as you know. And it's funny because it's experience, right? And a lot of the moto guys are very lucky to have the purse money that they have. And even in Supercross, like, okay, so it's 15 grand to win a Supercross. That's a factory guy. Yeah, I do believe that entirely. If a factory rider wins, they shouldn't receive the purse money. The purse money should be for the guys that aren't on teams, or the teams that are struggling. Like, talking with some factory riders, you know, they're like, all right, so I win a race. I know that here almost instantly I'm going to get my 6-figure bonus, which is 100 grand to 250 grand. And then another 6 weeks later, here comes the purse money. That was an extra 15. And they're like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, you know, but they don't even care about it. They're not even looking at it, right? But for a privateer, that will take you to the next 2-3 races, right? And then talking with some MotoGP guys that are paying to race, and even the Superbike guys that are paying to race, and you guys over in Europe, and even here in the United States, which the American Superbike stuff, they're all like, dude, we don't get purse money. This is crazy. And I'm over here going, holy shit, you guys are the fastest guys in the world and you don't get purse money. That's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me. And just for some context, like, for me to go to the MX of Nations, it was $800, just a one-time fee for FIM to be able to have a license to be able to do any sort of media stuff there. And I was just like, Okay, sure, right, sure, but then they won't pay the riders, and there's 100,000 people at the event that are paying for tickets. It just seems ludicrous that they can't come up with $100,000 for the at least purse money for stuff, but yeah.
Not being. Go ahead,
So
Valentin. No, go ahead.
It's like it's really complicated. All that that's calculation, or I don't know how to say that, but at the end, it's a business, and you have to fight to be the best. And when you are the best, you're allowed to win your money. But I think the problem is like, I believe here in the US it's better than in Europe, but you have more media cover, and the best should have a Netflix series on motocross. Like this, we could increase and go bigger and bring new sponsors and stuff like this. More we have visibility, more money we can have, and at the end we can give money to everyone,
because it's entertainment. I know that you guys are there racing, but as far as from a selling perspective, it's all about entertainment. And the irony in the whole thing is, think of who owns Supercross here in America. They're an entertainment company. They do circuses, and Disney on Ice. And then just on the side, they do motocross. I mean, yeah, they do monster trucks, but they own all the monster trucks. And so it's literally just a show, right? So yes, it's a professional sport, but it needs to be entertainment. And the Netflix shows I love those. Like, I don't really follow the F1 races. I kind of almost wait till the F1 season is over and for the show to come out, because I want to see all behind the scenes and the guys all talking shit. And, I love the Unchained by the Tour de France. Like, all those things are awesome.
Yeah.
I have to totally agree. Michaela and I never were into Formula One. Netflix comes out, and now I know a little bit more about Formula One. Now we have a Formula One race in Vegas. We've always had one in Miami, but now we've got 2 races stateside. So to Valentin's point, if you don't think that type of incremental exposure grows the sport, that's silly. Another thing that's kind of interesting is if you look, the Formula One race teams get $0 from the Netflix show, $0. And they're okay with that because, like they said, exactly what Valentin just articulated, they know that exposure opens up more exposure for their existing sponsors. It opens up opportunities for new sponsors. People like myself and Michaela, who knew nothing about Formula One, Johnny, you and I spoke about it briefly once before. I'm sitting there watching the Netflix show, and I see this gentleman that buys the Aston Martin Formula One race team. I just said to Michaela, what's this guy's background, right? He's this big fat guy that doesn't look like he's got any race background whatsoever. And then I look him up, and he's a fashion designer, multi-billionaire that just wanted to own a Formula One race team. So he just literally walked in and bought the Aston Martin race team. Mm-hmm. To Valentin's point, it's an outside revenue stream. Somebody that was outside the sport bought into the sport, and now look at us.
Think about it. Like, I can't think off a top of my head the media company that bought F1, but they bought F1 for like $4 billion, and now it's worth like 8 to 12.
Yep.
And they've paid for Netflix to come in and film, which I think has been $10-20 million a season, which is a lot, right? That's a big production, but it is doubled. And then you think of the drivers. The drivers have doubled, quadrupled their following on social media because of this. And you don't think, like, Valentin, if Feld or somebody decided to actually pony up, because I think Netflix offered them, and it was something like $5-6 million to do it, and they said no. But if they hypothetically did do it, and you're involved with it, it's almost guaranteed that your Instagram followers is going to go from 70 to 200 plus, which is then going to make it easier for you to sell yourself to other sponsors. To, even if you didn't have a factory or a privateer ride, you could do something like Logan Carnow with OnlyFans or whatever to be able to go race. Like talking with Josh Herron, who is not anymore, but he was the defending Superbike champion here in America. He says that over half of his salary has come from social media with the OnlyFans deal, right?
Okay.
Just because he's got 200,000 followers on Instagram and like 100,000 on YouTube. He said that that's what companies look for. So that would be growing exponentially because new sponsors would be coming in. And then, Coach, to carry it back to what you were saying, eventually you might have a billionaire that says, hey, I want to own the American Honda team or whatever.
Well, look at Max Verstappen. I think last time I checked, his annual salary is $40 million a year. That's a salary. No bonuses. That's just a salary. Well, you start looking at the business model. If anybody runs a business, right, and you start looking at LTV, long-term value, and CAC, cost to acquire client, you start doing all these mathematical calculations associated with business. How can somebody afford to pay a driver $40 million a year? And then you look at a football team that has, I always go to the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know how big their salary payroll is, but you've got guys in there making $100 million over 5 years or whatever. Don't hold me to the specificity of the number, but it's the same idea that NFL just didn't roll out and be as big as they are. And any ball and stick sport that you like, it's TV contracts, and it's especially now with social media, and it's, you just keep making the base bigger and bigger, and everybody can benefit from it. Johnny, you and I have talked about this off the air, and I still don't understand why Feld Motorsports owns the Monster Truck Series. They own all the trucks, and all the drivers are contracted to Feld to drive those trucks. You don't see Feld doing the same thing remotely close to that in Supercross.
It'd be too expensive.
But it's the model, right? What is it that they saw over there? Like what excuse me. Earlier, Valentine said, have its own factory class, right? And then you have a privateer race. Johnny, you've been advocating this for as long as we've known each other. And the privateers have a prize purse where the factory riders, they're getting paid by the salaries of the OEMs, et cetera. But the idea that why wouldn't Feld want to have, let's say, 6 teams, let's just say one of each color. Feld is, they're ponying up the money for the A show. Then you allow privateers to come in. They're still bad dudes. And if you run a point series, then maybe you can get a chance to displace a rider that's on a Feld-owned team. Now you kind of have that. It's just like cycling, right? Everybody's fighting to be that top dog. Tour de France starts, and all of a sudden your key players all of a sudden having a bad week. What do? They shift to the main. Everybody's protecting this new rider because, like Valentin said earlier, this guy's just off for the 3-week tour at France. That's okay. They're not going to fire him. They're just going to reprioritize who's defending, who's racing for who.
Mm-hmm.
Taddy's not having a good week. All right. So we got to protect him to see if he can come around on week 2. All of a sudden, Taddy's like off the back. Taddy's role changes. Somebody else is just having a good tour. Obviously, that's an extreme example because that guy's unbeatable, but that's a different story. But, it's, I don't know, the business model.
He got beat at a little weekend race. There was like a weekend race that after he already did one of the, I'm just saying that he wasn't really trying too hard, and somebody was trying really hard with like a VO2 max of like 85. Well,
it's just the thing that I don't understand when we're talking about the business model is we have somebody that's with us today, extremely talented on a motorcycle. And if we look at that kind of talent in any other sport, he'd be in that top 1/2 of 1%.
I mean, he already is.
Well, he is, but he doesn't have the same financial income that top 1/2 of 1% has in a ball and stick sport. So if we model a business model of success, we could change this if we wanted to. I just firmly believe that the industry doesn't want it to change. This. Go ahead, Valentin.
The big problem it's like, how to explain that? We don't have enough visibility. Mm-hmm. So the main sponsors of MXGP series, of team, of here in the US, Supercross and Motocross, it's always motocross companies. It's rental, helmets, some 6D, some guys like this who support a championship. So this investment they do for super championship, then teams, they ask them also support. So the cake is really small. It's a small cake. And we try to give a bit money to everyone because we don't have enough visibilities. If we have more visibilities like Netflix and stuff like this, if you see Formula One, or MotoGPs or cycling team, they are not supported by Pirellis or by company of motorsport. They are supported by company who's, I don't know,
outside the sport.
Yeah, communication outside from sports.
Oh yeah, big finance companies, crypto companies, all sorts of just baller money type stuff.
But here's what's crazy to Valentin's point. When JGR, Joe Gibbs Racing, they have two of the top NASCAR cars, right? At the time, Joe Gibbs had a Home Depot car. Joe Gibbs Racing offered the JGR motocross team as an added value, and Home Depot said, no, thank you. What's that tell you? They were going to offer, imagine seeing a Home Depot Suzuki running around the track. Home Depot said, no, thank you, because there was no perceived value by Home Depot. Now, if I'm a promoter, that's a huge red flag for me. Now, you can get into conspiracy theories and all this other stuff. Why wouldn't they want Home Depot to be attracted to our sport? That's, to me, seems to be the question that everybody keeps asking.
Well, because the sport is mildly bleeding too. Because you look at what happened with Geico Honda, and then you look at what happened with Tutu Motorsports when he had the CBD companies and everything come in. As soon as the overhead kind of sees, hey, look, there's money here, they poach them and say we could do more exposure for you sponsoring the series rather than the team, and so that gives a bad taste in everybody's mouth because they're like, hey, I did the hard work to go find outside sponsor, and then now they've decided to cut my funding because they can get more exposure by just doing the title sponsors way. And so if the sport is the sanctioning body doing better, all the teams will trickle down and do better. So Valentin's point, like, he's the one that brought up the topic of, if we just had the Netflix show, how exponential growth it would be. Maybe the first year or so you would, okay, here's that $5-6 million deal. But then after that, everyone's salaries should increase. And yeah, it just seems like a no-brainer.
You have to add another level of dynamic though, Johnny. Valentin had just mentioned, hey, if we got the Netflix, we get more sponsors coming in. Think about when Ken Roczen was riding for Ricky Carmichael and Kerry Hart, RCH, right? And Kenny Watson goes out and he sells Jimmy John's, and Kenny's winning. He's on the podium, and the camera zooms in to make sure that they only show from here up, to make sure that Jimmy John's is not on the camera.
That sounds kind of like a conspiracy. Like, I want to see hard.
I
got to look back and see the hard evidence.
Yeah, I can show you the hard evidence,
okay.
And I can get Kenny Watson on the show, and he will tell you that he called and said he got a call from the owner of Jimmy John's and said, why are they not showing the front of the jersey? They zoom right in. Well, because Jimmy John's is not a sponsor of the series. Well, to Valentin's point, if let's say that we have Sky is one of the sponsors, and Sky is not a sponsor of the Tour de France, they still show the whole jersey on an interview. They don't alienate the sponsor because the sponsor is not part of the series. And Johnny, if you want to kind of go just a little bit more point blank, why was it that Chad Reed had to run a sticker over CBD on his helmet? He had to run duct tape over his jersey, right? And at that time it was, well, CBD wasn't approved by the sport, and the AMA was against it and all of that. But then the next year CBD is now legal. Well, that was interesting. It didn't take very long to get that pushed through to become approved. Then right now we see Insta360 that's on the side. It's now a sponsor of the series, which was very similar to what Chad Reed had, but GoPro was out there. Why can't you have GoPro out there and an Insta360. You have Sky News and, Cox Communication sponsoring two different teams. But see, that's where I guess I get a little bit confused when
There's
I
some
hear
growing
somebody.
pains that needs to
Is it growing pains, or is it just a refusal to play together? Because we're no longer, these aren't things associated with growing anymore. It's we can't grow because the system is putting us in a box that doesn't let the box grow. Big difference.
Yeah, that's possible.
When you have Home Depot that wants to come, when Home Depot does not want to come into the sport, even though JGR offered it as an added value as being a NASCAR sponsor, and Home Depot says, no, thank you. That's, to me, if that's not a big red flag, I don't know what is.
Because for me, Supercross, it's the best package, It's what we could do as with Formula One. Motocross, it's more complicated because motocross, you are in middle of the field. Sometimes it's raining, so it's difficult to bring sponsors who will arrive with his Ferrari and the wife with high heel, walk in the mud. That's really complicated with motocross. But Supercross, it's the best thing. It's like concrete parking, concrete paddock. It can rain, you still are dry in the stadium. So to bring sponsor and to open the market, it's the best thing. And yeah, you can bring VIP people and guys can come with white shoes, white clothes, and don't get full of dust, of mud. And yeah, they should really open to bigger sponsor and company and yes, stars and people who should come. I don't know. They have a new business to do that and new
Agreed. Small, because I know we're kind of winding down here because Valentin, I said I'd let you go in about an hour. What are your goals for the 250? Like, has the team said, hey, we want you to be top 5, or hey, this is just a learning deal, just go out there and just don't get hurt? I mean, and then what are your personal goals? Do you have a team set oriented, hey, this is what we need to do to be viable?
Should I do like everyone? Oh yeah, for sure. We go for the victory. No.
No, come on, be unfiltered. Let's come on.
No, you know what? I have no idea. I have no idea. I just gonna train as good as I can and be ready for the first race and try to do my best every weekend. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I know what I'm capable of what I can do on the motocross bike on motocross track. I believe if you are a good rider, if you are good on MX, you can be good also on Supercross. So yeah, a good rider is apt to adapt in all situations. So it's my goal to adapt good for the Supercross season on 250.
Okay. Well, I know it's kind of silly to say, hey, I'm not going to be happy unless I'm top 5, because there's no context in there, because you could have the 5 guys in front of you that have the best days ever, right? But like, what is, I guess my real question is, are you going to be happy with just being able to attack the track and not get arm pump? I mean, what is the ideal Supercross season? Not so much oriented behind finish position, but what is a good season for you?
Yeah, the good thing is just to ride at my real level. If I can ride how I know how to ride a bike, it means that I work good on winter and I will be my real level on the track. And if I finish top 5, it's my real level. And if my real level is to finish top 10, that's my life. It's here, and I have to try to improve and to do better. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to answer in 2.5 months. So
Okay.
yeah, looking forward, because anyway, it's a dream will come true. In my life, I said that I want to be a professional motocross rider, and it's what I was doing in MXGPs. And I won some Grand Prix, and I was fighting for a world title. And in a small place of my head, I always said I would like to race one time in the US, to do one outdoor races. And finally, this year was the good year to arrive here and to do the full season, and to finish 9 overall MX 450 on a private bike around factory guys who win millions, and me, I had like nothing, just the prize money, and I make a dream come true, and now I'm gonna do another dream come true. So yeah, I mean, I just try to do my best and enjoy that. Yeah,
Dude, I'm super impressed because of like the shit that I have found out as far as the difference between some of just electronics on the factory bikes versus privateer. The finishes that you received, you instantly caught my attention whenever I was at the races. So I've been literally following you for a while and have wanted to talk to you. And after talking to you, seeing how sympathetic you are towards everything you've been through, and then also just the of fresh air, the breath of fresh air of just you look light. You look like you still have motivation, where sometimes talking with guys, they just don't have that spark, and you have that spark, which is going to enable you to have some good rides, dude. So at the Supercrosses that I go to this year, you know, I'll definitely be rubbing elbows with you in the pits. How about that? That's the only thing that
yeah.
You got a 2-digit number in 450, but can you still have a 2-digit number in 250, or do you have to run a 3-digit number?
I don't know. I have number 39, so I believe that I will have also the 39 on 250. No idea. I mean,
I think that's how it works. But...
I mean, doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, you know, I will be 33 years old. I don't know. In my goal, it's to race 26, 27, 28.
All here in airs.
In three seasons, maybe 4. Then my career is over with that, you know. So it's why I just try to do my best, enjoy, and have no regrets. Because yeah, it's going too fast. I wish I told this to myself 15 years ago, but it's like this. So yeah, gonna enjoy next season.
Would you ever? Okay, last kind of follow-up question. World Supercross round 4 was this weekend. Their viewer count seemed down, and I know me talking about the race has been down, and it's kind of because there's not the big heavy hitters. You know, there was no Tomac, there was no Roxon. It was just that. Would you consider racing World Supercross, and do you see World Supercross competing with American Supercross? Do you see it growing, or do you see it just turning into like an arena cross type deal?
I hope for the sport it's gonna grow, but Supercross is in the US, and it's 17 race there in big stadium, and I think the big money of Supercross is doing there. It's US, but I think for me it's not that bad. They should always keep that. It starts after Motocross of Nation till December, and why not in the future? Why not? I should do that. You know, maybe like, you know, you race World Supercross, so you are just racing. Then it keep you on your good level. Then you race outdoor Supercross. Supercross in the US. Then maybe you race outdoor or you don't race outdoor, and then you go back on World Supercross. So that's something I have in my head, and yeah.
Well, I wouldn't put a date on your retirement, dude, because there's so many guys that have retired that still race. Like Dean Wilson retired, right? And he's still racing. Matt Moss, I think, is like 36, 37. And he did the Australian Supercross series. Then he did the Indian Supercross series. And then he did World Supercross series, you know? So like he's been more active now than what he was when he was over here in America. So
when I say retired, it's mean on the high level, so MXGP or full season outdoor and Supercross US. But then I believe that we can see that we are getting longer in the career. We are getting with older rider that was not in the past. So yeah, then it's always possible to race like some other championship or like World Supercross or stuff like this. So yeah.
Hey Johnny,
I'm not done yet. There's some race to come.
You're just starting.
Hey,
you're just getting started.
Because next year in 26, I will be a rookie in 250 class. I'm 33 years old.
Hell yeah, dude.
I think that's unbelievable. Johnny, something maybe we could talk about it next week, but something to think about when it comes to that World Supercross. If you look at that top 10 list, you've got the veterans, you've got Anderson, you've got Roxon, you've got McElrath. Then you look right below that, right? You go to the 250 class, you've got the Colin Parks, the Cody Shocks, the Enzo Lopes. I find World Supercross is interesting because you've got some of the historically incredibly veterans, if you want to call them that. You could throw in there Webb and Roxon and Tomac and Webb and Deegan. Obviously, well, I shouldn't say Deegan. You have Roxon and you have Webb.
Why not say?
Well, I'm just saying, you look at Tomac, Webb,
veterans.
and Roxon have been in the sport for a long time. So those guys are at the top of the list. Then it's an incredible opportunity, like Valentin said, like a Colin Park. I'm sure he got paid more money to go do that short series at WSX than he probably made all year racing for Phoenix, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you look at that, how cool. I don't know of many race series that are that new that is serving both someone who might be on the backside of their career, relatively speaking, let that just settle generically, then an opportunity for the up-and-comer guys. Because think about it, when Colin Park, I think, is 24 years old, right? So if you look at Colin Park at 24 and you look at Shane McElrath, you would have Colin Park racing at Mini O's and Shane McElrath winning his first 250 championship. And now you have Colin Park that gets to go rub elbows with Shane McElrath. What an incredible opportunity for somebody who, Colin Park's had a stellar last 2 or 3 years. But if you look at how far he's come in a short period of time, he's the journeyman that'll go and jump on a WSX and he'll go over there and he'll race during the winter, turn right back around. He's changing. I think he stayed Honda this year, but I think last year, I may be wrong with that. But some of these guys, Henry Miller, he's ridden for, I think he's racing for Rick Ware's Honda team over there, but then he's over here in the States racing a KTM. And these guys are willing to go where the money is at to be able to make a living racing. But I think something like World Supercross, exactly what Valentin said, yeah, the outdoor series is over. They can race through the winter. I mean, Cody Schock was getting some good results. Colin Park's been in the top 10. So it keeps them sharp through the winter. Now we get back to, are they going to be tired by the time we get to April or May because they've been racing now for 12 months?
Probably.
That goes back to what Valentin said. It's the hard part is navigating the fatigue factor of all the traveling.
But again, entirely worth it if you make 80% of your salary in those 4 races, So I'm with Valentin and you, Coach, that I hope that they do succeed so that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
and let's not forget, you got 2 billionaires that have invested in purchased that World Supercross.
Would it be weird if they got the Netflix series?
Well, I've heard that they've actually accepted it. That's what I've heard, that they see the value of that. It would be silly for them not to. They have nothing to lose and everything to gain. They have nothing to lose, especially since Feld's already snubbed them. You don't think that rubs Netflix the wrong way? Netflix wants them to be even more successful. There's definitely some egos at the top of that CEO level. So, Netflix being told no to something, I'm sure didn't go over very well.
Fuck? Netflix just bought or is trying to buy Warner Brothers for like $80 billion. Yeah, $80 billion. So they'll own all of HBO. They'll own The Sopranos. They'll own Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. Like,
well, and you think about it, and Netflix was scoffed at when the idea first came out. People laughed at them. You know, I don't know if you're aware of this, but like Yahoo, when Yahoo was the biggest internet provider, they had a chance to buy Facebook, they passed. They had a chance to buy Google, and they passed. They said those were just fads, things that weren't going to, and now Yahoo is worth 1/1000th of what they were
it's the whole
25 years ago.
BlackBerry deal, you know,
Yeah.
or Kodak.
But
And that's
you look
what
at Netflix.
that's kind of what we're talking about is Feld cannot let World Supercross win. So really the best defense for them would be them to grow exponentially. They created the Super Motocross. Great. And they put a lot of money behind it. The problem is they need the social media promotion behind it. And what would be the biggest promotion, but then to have Netflix behind all of this and like, hey, look, we've got this race for $1 million and blah, 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 blah. It would have them exponentially get ahead of World Supercross. And that would honestly be the biggest FU to like, hey, you guys can't beat us.
But listen to what you just said though, Johnny. We're sitting here talking about the business potential. World Supercross came to fruition, SMX came to fruition because of WSX. That would have never happened if WSX didn't show up. So if it doesn't illustrate the entire underlying tone of a competition raises quality 100% of the time. Go ahead, finish your thoughts. Your show.
Well, hours. Just watch what's going to happen with MotoGP, because they have been bought by the same people that do F1, and they're going to have the Netflix show as well. Let's just see what happens the next couple of years to MotoGP. And
But what's so crazy about it is you have World Supercross that has 2 billionaires that have purchased soccer teams, turned them from nothing and made them successful. You don't think they're going to be able to solve the riddle with motocross? I mean, let's face it, money drives all decisions, right? So when these guys, they're not investing in this right now. Let's hit the pause button for a moment. You go back 4 years ago, Ken Roczen was the only marquee name. This year, they've had Hayden Deegan, the most marketable name. They got him. You've never seen Tomac go and do it. Now, somebody kind of chewed me up last time because they said that I made the comment that Star had never gone to World Supercross. I was under the impression that Tomac was racing under the CDR team. If I'm wrong, I stand corrected. But I don't remember it being Star going over there and providing Tomac a bike. So my point being,
Tomac was the first rider KTM Red Bull factory to race World Supercross.
And that's what I had said to Johnny a couple of weeks ago.
In the past, KTM, they said we don't want to support and to go.
And that's what I said to Johnny. We've never seen KTM there. We've never seen Yamaha there. And now we have Star Yamaha that was there with Webb and Deegan. And you have Tomac,
Justin Cooper also. He was
Justin Cooper.
Yeah.
Now, if I understand correctly, they went over before. And again, if I'm wrong, I'll own it. But I was under the impression they went under CDR, Craig Deck Racing. Now you have literally the Star Yamaha sends 3 bikes over there. And now you have Tomac with KTM. Now, some people argue they wanted a chance to shake the bike down. Doesn't matter. There has to be enough merit for them to go do it. So now you look at that roster of athletes that are now the marquee. It's not just Kenny anymore. Look at that roster. Deegan. I mean, the only person missing really is Sexton. And obviously the Hunter and Jet, but you're not going to see that happen because of their investment in WSX.
Money is going to lure anybody. And so if they keep throwing money at these riders, they're going to continue to.
But they're billionaires. They will continue to put money into what they've already purchased.
They've got Ralph Shaheen. They're taking
Jeff Emig, Daniel Blair.
But in one moment, they need to get something back. And if years and years nothing come back, they're gonna stop.
But that's the cool part is if you think about the idea that these billionaires just bought in a year and a half ago, and in one season, now they've got 5 marquee riders. Now they're going to start to see that money come back because they'll be able to, all right, we had these guys last year. They know that this year was, hey, let's put them out there. We're losing money. The numbers are low, but then you get the tail of the snake that follows the head that says next year they can promote.
They're billionaires. You know, they know.
Yeah, but to Valentin's point, millionaires and billionaires don't lose money. They know how to
Eventually.
not lose money.
Yeah,
But they know
they're
that
patient.
but you can't say that you want a series to grow unless you invest in the series. So they went out and got all those big marquee guys for the next season. Now they have all this footage. They can say, hey, you can see Roxon and you can see Anderson, or maybe Roxon doesn't come back now, but you can see Anderson, but you can see Tomac, and you might get a chance to see Webb. And heck, if they can get Deegan locked up, right? Now they market that. And we know the Deegans aren't very happy with the US promoters. They've been very vocal about that in their videos, right? Well, you don't think WSX isn't kind of wait a second. They're not happy with the American promoters. They take a lion's share of their promotion dollars and they throw it at Deegan. Now Deegan is signed on for all 5 races next year. You don't think there's going to be a momentum shift?
Oh yeah.
World Supercross.
So what
will
we're
be
saying
selling
is
out stadiums.
Valentin, whatever team that you signed with, you got to be like, hey, I'm doing World Supercross in 2026, whether it's a 250 or 450, that's what I'm doing. Because I guarantee Shane McElrath is probably making more money being the defending champion over there with Quad Lock Honda than he does here in America racing 17 races, Yeah. So, and to go back to the whole billionaire conversation, Tesla wasn't net positive for like 12 years. Microsoft was like 8 years. Apple was, I think, the fastest with like 6-year deficit. So all of them start off in the hole. And so World Supercross is on year 4, but is this really year 1 because of new ownership? Sure. Right. But it's moving in the right direction. So this whole conversation, Valentin, is you need to start talking with some sort of team to try to race next year. That's my goal for you. That's what I want to see. Is I want to see you on the roster for next year.
Yeah. But you look at those billionaires. When did those billionaires buy in? After the initial concept is kind of settled, you figure out what's working and what's not working, then they got involved. And if you look at all those successful companies, they don't buy in at the ground level usually. They let it kind of settle itself in for 6 to 10 years. Then they're like, okay, now we see where the opportunities are at, and money breeds money. And so I think World Supercross is going to be around. And I think if you just look at the percentage of improvement from 2 years ago to what you saw this year, Tomac, Webb, J-Coop, Deegan of all people. I mean, he's the newest. I mean, he's the brightest star in the bunch, right? They were able to get Deegan. What do you think they're going to see next year? It's crazy. Wouldn't be surprised if you saw 10 of the top guys being brought over there.
Or
I don't think you'll see 100.
Just literally begging to go over there, right? Rather than
when the check cashes, right? And you don't have to wait 6 weeks to 6 months to get your check. We've talked to some privateers that didn't get their money for literally months after the nationals were over. That's sad, man. Can't pay your bills on thanks,
Okay, so lots of positives, minor negative there.
No negative. We just want it to be better for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming on to the podcast, dude. And I'll definitely be bugging you in Supercross. And by that time, I don't know how many East Coast rounds I'm going to go to, because it's kind of far. But I don't know. We'll see. But I'll definitely be bugging you.
Yeah, thanks. For the moment, I will still do some laps on SX, putting some videos, and then soon we will be on the first race, so it will be cool.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Well,
love to have you come back.
Yeah. Well, I'm stoked. Well, that's not a very good segue, but guys, the podcast is now over with. So you could go about your Monday, and as always, just keep it WFO.